time for renewal, a time for rebirth, a time for manure, and a time for dank earth. These are the words I have to say to you this morning. As I continue to document the life journey of Eric and Rachel, now, of course, as well. Oh, sure, it has its highs and lows. Oh, sure, things don't always go perfectly around here. Yesterday was a long day waiting for Chad-eau. Chad, of course, is the gentleman who's plowing my driveway. And in a moment, I plan to take us all outside to see the progress he's already made yesterday afternoon. We waited for him all day yesterday until like 4:30 p.m. And then, oh yeah, that guy's a problem actually with his mom. He's actually just a either an idiot or a hater. I'm not sure which. His whole point is that he knows more than I do about cognitive functions. He positions himself as the expert. He calls me an ISFJ. He says that I'm misidentifying Effie when I'm talking to Mackenzie, etc. He's just somebody who's trying to be a hater and steal my audience and etc. But he's one of them a billion successive individuals like that. You don't seem to get Winston's mom how to distinguish between friend and foe, but that's fine. I don't expect you to be able to do that. I mean, no, Rachel did not have a good time hanging out at the Coro show. It was quite distressing to her, in fact. She's much more susceptible to being distressed by things like that than I am. I mean, then he's just an idiot, right? And he's just an idiot because he has no business challenging what I'm saying about cognitive functions at all if he's new to the community. The idea that his random inclinations might be somehow more significant than my well researched and muchly considered analysis on the matter is ridiculous. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, if he's saying I'm not an ENTP, he's a hater. Either that or a complete moron, right? Because no person who's dealing honestly and with any kind of intellectual robustness about the issue of my type thinks I'm anything even conceivable other than an ENTP, right? Um, he'd have to be, he's either a hater or really dumb, one of the two, because there's no possibility that somebody can honestly believe that. But of course, Rachel being Rachel says things like, why do people think you're an ISFJ? I explained to her, nobody thinks that. They're just pulling shit. So, Chad did in fact come yesterday. Well, Rachel and I were at Oakhurst. Um, and as you can see here, my driveway is looking substantially different. We've got this big ass pile of snow over there that's like 10 feet tall or something. Because Chad pushed the driveway all around. And my car's almost dug out. Well, Cameron mostly did that. But when he comes back today, we will be able to get in and out of here, except for the fact that, of course, guess what? Now my car's not working. Cameron tells me the battery's dead, so I take it to I go to the auto parts store in Oakhurst. I ask them for a new battery for a 2014 Mini Cooper Countryman, and what do they tell me? Oh, you can't change that yourself. You have to take it to the shop. They've got all this special equipment they got to use because Mini Coopers are unnecessarily expensive cars to own. You know, it's like they're very fussy about everything. Oh, I see what happened. My exhaust pipe is stuffed with snow. Idling the car no doubt caused a problem accordingly. Well, you know, hopefully we can get it started, and I gotta drive down to core school today to get it fixed in the shop because this is the last day the camera's gonna be here, so I can get a jump from him today, and I'm gonna have to go get this car taken care of. But even if, well, it's gonna have to get fixed today. That's all there is to it. Because tomorrow we got more weather coming in, and then Friday we got a whole big fucking storm coming in. Hopefully it won't drop snow this time. It'll rain like it says it's going to, but I have my doubts. Every time it says it's going to rain so far, it's been snow. But this time, I will stay on top of that shit. I will keep this part of the driveway from the garage to the street up here clear with my snow blower and snow shovel and such. Yeah, as soon as it starts snowing, I'm gonna be out here freaking making sure it's not sticking to the driveway. I might even get some like rock salt or something. That's popular on the East Coast, putting salt on things you don't want to freeze. It looks like the roof of my car got smashed in a little bit too from the weight of the snow. But Rachel did mention that she enjoyed chatting with you and Lou and stuff briefly, but she gets so disturbed by other people who do a good job of FE positioning themselves as though they know what they're talking about when they don't. It bothers her a lot. And it's of course the best way to get to me is to get to Rachel. You can't get me. I mean, it's just impossible. You can't get me directly. Regardless, I currently have so much more important things going on than dealing with some idiot hater, you know? I'm too busy for haters right now. And I can tell you, yesterday, by the end of the day, Rachel was at a bit of an emotional low. Come on in. Or stay out, one of the two. Pick a side of the door, kitty. In or out? Out it is. Okay. So, the problem is, we spent all day, I think it was Friday, or maybe it was Saturday, waiting for Chad, and he never was able to show up. Then he showed up on Sunday, saying, "Don't worry, I'll definitely be here on Monday." And then we waited all day on Monday, and he finally showed up after Rachel and I just said, "Okay, well, we're going to have to operate under the assumption he's not going to show up again." He did, but I can't blame us for operating under that assumption because we'd waited all day. It was very frustrating, you know. Then another frustration, I go down to the Oakhurst Pharmacy, and I did not know that Rachel loves peonies. Yes, Friday I know it. Friday at 8:30 I'm going to talk to TJ. That sounds fun. It sounds non-adversarial, which I appreciate, you know. He's just going to interview me about my experience in China and stuff, and that's fine. That sounds like a pleasant experience. I don't have to battle at all. Because right now I'm just so busy battling with nature. Good morning, Lemon Melon. Yeah, so I called in my prescription yesterday early, and I go down to Oakhurst to the pharmacy, and it hasn't even been called into the pharmacy yet. The slabs are really working hard right now. They're really flexing their muscles. And I think it's basically extra karma we have to pay in order to have gotten this great deal, etc. You know. Rachel asked me last night, "Do you think there's some reason why other people didn't buy this house?" Like, she's starting to get stressed out because, I mean, well, if he's saying I'm an ISFJ, he's just another douchebag hater. No matter how nice he manages to position it, you're being fooled, you know. Either that or he's an idiot. If he thinks he's qualified to review MBTI channels and is calling me an ISFJ, then he's either an idiot or a hater, right? Because I am the textbook example of an ENTP. So that's all there is to it. I will have to check into this peonies thing. I'm just glad she doesn't love ponies. Ponies would be much more expensive than peonies. Well, it's normal for anybody who's had such a rough move-in period as we've had. We've been here a month and a half about, and it's been a succession of struggles, not struggies, succession of struggles and difficulties due to the fact that, you know, I'm not having any problem with this, and I don't really think Rachel is either. It was just yesterday she reached her red line on being stuck in the house. That was the first time Rachel had left the house in like 2 full weeks. Was yesterday, maybe even more. So you have your struggies too. A struggie is like a pajamas that you put on that has a robe or something. Um, I'm very conscious of the big picture here, and I think Rachel generally is too. Which is, we got a great house, we got a great deal, etc. All this stuff. We've also gotten really lucky with all the weather events. We've got very minor damage. A little damage to my car, broke off the antenna, smushed the roof in, looks like a little bit. And when I um, when I ran the car to charge our phones, it looks like I caused some sort of damage there because perhaps the exhaust pipe was stuffed with snow. I thought to myself when I did it, this is a better choice than charging by running the little wilderness car because regular cars are meant to idle and run for many hours at a time, etc. But I should have just used the little wilderness car to charge our phones because it was safely parked in the garage where it wasn't buried in snow. So I made so many mistakes in this whole business, but I'm not going to repeat those mistakes. I'm going to learn from those mistakes. Um, once we get the driveway cleared this morning, when Chad shows up, then uh, I will drive the car to the shop and get it fixed. But in addition to that, I'll take out the wilderness car, turn it around, back it into the garage, and I may even move it around so that I can also park the car in the garage. Could you paint a face on the little wilderness car? I don't think I'm gonna do that, but LWC. You could also refer to him as LWC. Uh, Sometimes I call it the Mule, which is what it's actually called, the Kawasaki Mule. But mostly I just call it Little Wilderness Car. I don't think Little Wilderness Car has a horn on it. It does have a winch. If I had turned on, if I had turned around Little Wilderness Car before the snows happened, I would have probably been able to get it out of the driveway already because I could have winched it to a tree across the street and pulled myself up the driveway like that. But you know, you live and you learn. This is I can't really blame myself at all for my many failings here because this series of storms is an historic weather event. It's the storms of the winter of the century. Like California's got record snowpack levels now, and they're going to just get hammered again in the high Sierras this upcoming week. This upcoming starting on Friday, especially. All the weather forecasts are saying that here we're going to get rain, but I have my doubts. I definitely have my doubts. Um, yeah, we're in the low Sierras, the western Sierras. The eastern Sierras are the high Sierras, and that's like, if you go due east from us across the mountains, you get to Mammoth Lakes, California, which is where my parents had a condo when I was a kid. I grew up skiing there all the time, fishing there all the time. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you wanted what we're experiencing every winter, um, the high Sierras used to be like this every winter. They'd be just inundated with many feet of snow. It used to be in the late 70s, early 80s. You could ski at Mammoth even in July. There was July 4th skiing many years. They'd have like 3 runs still open. But it's not really like that anymore. Well, we're in the mountains. The beach is not super far away from us. Yeah, we'll go to the Butterfly Festival if we're dug out. I mean, when is the Butterfly Festival? Is it in March or is it in April or what? Because if it's in March, then we may still be dealing with the aftermath of all of this snow that we've got all around. I'm really hopeful that we get actual rain in this upcoming storm. That would solve all of our problems. And multiple neighbors have assured us that most winters are nothing like this at all. So I'm not too worried about us buying something we didn't bargain for. We didn't bargain for this event, obviously. First weekend in May. Cousin of mine used to save dead butterflies in thick books. They flatten nicely and don't make a mess. Hmm. Well, of course, the other thing that's somewhat distressing to Rachel is that we're not getting any packages or mail here. And the reason is because at the Triangle Road, Jersey-Dale Road intersection, there's a sign that the road back to our house and all of Jersey-Dale area is closed to everybody except residents, is what it says. And the reason is because they only have snowplowed 2 lanes up until Jersey-Dale Road. From Jersey-Dale Road all the way back here, it's mostly just 1 lane road now because the snowplows have pushed it only so far to the sides, you know. So we're not getting any. We can't get any deliveries here. We can't get anything, and they stink like beauty. Boba Fett. Butterflies stink with the fragrance of beauty. It's a suffocating, flowery smell. Speaking of mice, last night I was trying to get Trouble to come inside the house, and I gotta try to get him to come in like 10 or 20 times before he actually comes in the house if Cameron's here. He doesn't like Cameron. Trouble doesn't. He's still mostly wild, it seems like. But we got a good video of him going to work yesterday. Him going through the snowdrift off to work. And then he was gone all day and showed up like 8 o'clock at night. And anyway, when I tried to go outside to get him to come inside one time, he had a dead mouse that he was batting back and forth that he must have caught and killed. And then when I went outside again later, he was licking his lips like he'd eaten it. He's such a tough cat. We were comparing him, Rachel and I were comparing him to Marlon Brando. He is a very Marlon Brando-y cat. You could see him just talking like this. Yeah, I killed that mouse. It's my job. He is a fantastic cat, but he's also such trouble. He is just nonstop trouble. He frustrates the hell out of Rachel and I practically every day. We're trying to get him to come inside. It's like 30 degrees outside. He's sitting on the welcome mat and won't come in the house. It's like, no, I am just chilling here. I'm not going to go inside, etc. Yeah. Well, I'm glad he didn't try to give it to me. When I went out later, it was just gone someplace. The last thing I wanted was a dead mouse in the house. One day, and this day may never come, I will ask you for a mouse. Leave the gun. Take the mouse. Take the mouse, oldies. So, I'm live streaming this morning in part 2 to get myself ready for the day. Who knows what time Chad is going to show up. Cameron was the only person who talked to him yesterday because Rachel and I left like right before he showed up. We gave up on him right before he actually showed up. And what we have here, one of the things we did when we were out, we went to the Tribal Nation flower company. And I like their weed there a lot. We got several different kinds here. Let me get my glasses on so I can see what they say. So this one's called trap glue. It's a hybrid, and I'm sure it's a mix between something and Gorilla Glue. You know, smells good. But most of all of these weeds, they're not that coffee, which is impressive. This is another trap glue. I got two of those for some reason. This is mimosa. This is a hybrid, sativa heavy hybrid, I guess. So I'll try a bomber for this. And of course, we have to go back to Coarse Gold today, which is basically where the weed store is in Coarse Gold, a little past Coarse Gold. Ah. That's what you call vinyl tubing weed. That's a sativa of some sort. Or a very sativa heavy hybrid. That's the kind of weed that tastes like that. Or smells and tastes like the smell and taste of blowing up a pool float. I always call it vinyl tubing weed, but that's a better way to describe it. It's like the taste of blowing up a pool thing. I'm super phlegmy right now. I'm not sure why, except I think when the central heating's on all night, it's going to take a while to entirely get rid of all the dust and stuff that's in the venting system of the house, probably. But it also has something to do with eating gummies. I ate weed gummies last night, and those tend to make me congested for some reason. No, we don't have a real fireplace, and no, they're not legal here anymore. And they weren't even in 2000 when this house was built, which is why we don't have a real fireplace. We have two of these fake propane wood burning stoves things, which does make a real fire, but it's not a real fireplace. And the exit for it is on the side of the house here. It's like this metal thing that's on the side of the wall that says hot, and it comes out, the air comes out, extra hot air comes out going out that way. And it's designed to not be a fire hazard and stuff, you know. And in fact, this whole house is smartly designed to be not very easily caught on fire. It has vinyl siding. It doesn't have real wood siding. It's like fake wood grain vinyl siding, you know. And there's very little about the house that's made out of wood. Oh well, we fixed it. It turned out when we looked at it and we tested it that in fact the problem was the much more minor problem that Cameron and I had first thought it was, until I intuited that it was a different problem incorrectly. So it's caulked, I still am a little worried that because when it leaks, the reason it leaks is because, or it leaked before, was if you got into the bathtub, actually taking a bath, and the water level went into the overflow dump out thing, that little circle that's got like two holes on the top of it, that was the part that was leaking. The drain's not leaking at all. So if in fact that circle part that's the overflow drain is still leaking, I'll just cock it all up entirely so that it has no overflow drain, and then it'll be fine. Because generally speaking, people don't like forget they leave the water running and start a flood. So it seems like an unnecessary precaution. Like, do I really need that extra level of precaution in a bathtub that even Rachel says is super small? It's like you can barely take a bath in there. So yeah, we resumed using the shower in there, and it's available to. She's she said it's not even comfortable taking a bath in there for her, and she's only 5'2". I'm 6'5", so there's no way in hell I'm gonna take a bath in there. Besides, the shower in the master bedroom has these built-in little chairs in it, like bench seats inside the bathtub, and it's nice. It's very what do you call it? Sauna-y, sauna-esque. So I got up early as usual. Trouble gets me up this time of day, whether I want to or not. Because he wants to go outside, and then he wants to come back inside, and then he wants to go outside, and then he wants to come back inside. I am not going to get a hot tub. There's no place to put one, and it's just not my thing. I don't need anything that requires additional maintenance. I've got plenty of stuff around here that's going to require plenty of maintenance from me. Uh, when I went to town with Cameron on Saturday, I looked at the chainsaws. I need to get a chainsaw. I actually have a small electric chainsaw. It's called a pole saw. That came with the house. That you can attach it to a pole, and it's got this thing that you pull on it, and it makes this little chainsaw go, and you can cut down branches and shit. How about a slip and slide? We could slip and slide down our driveway straight into the garage. That would be a good slip and slide. Or we could slip and slide all the way down our dirt road to the shed. That would be a fun slip and slide. So, I definitely have some work to do this morning, which includes the shoveling of some snow and the utilization of a snow blower to move some shit out of the way. Because we're close to having that driveway cleared. We're close to having my car dug out, successfully dug out. Well, of course, my car doesn't really work anymore, but that's life in the big city, I guess. What is in the little shed down by the trees? Yeah, I have looked in there. There's lots of stuff in there. There's like a woodworking table, there's a saw, there's a fire hose, there's a bunch of like replacement drains, there's this huge thing of different kinds of nuts and bolts that's like, I don't know, it's a cool slide out drawer thing, you know. There's stuff in there that you need to change the oil in your own car, which I'm never going to do. There's a bunch of stuff in there. You know, there's propane torches in there that work better than the one I have, actually. Yeah, I am going to hang on to it. I was, in fact, thinking about how, like, if I had that fire hose out before and knew where the fire hydrants were, I could attach to a fire hydrant and try to squirt all the snow away. But, of course, I can't get to the shed because without walking through huge piles of snow and digging out the front door of the shed and yada, yada, yada. So I'm just kind of stuck. You could clear it out and make a guest cottage. People are converting sheds into guest cottages online and they look awesome. Well, the shed's not that big. I guess you could put a bed in there, but that would basically occupy the whole shed. Maybe a twin bed you could fit in there with a little bit of stuff room on the side, maybe, but that's about it. It's not that big of a shed. I have a friend in real life who keeps buying sheds as if they were monopoly houses, but he has a big family. If you got a lot of land and a lot of people to house, not a bad idea, you know. Put a bunch of big sheds on your property and you can house everybody in your family. But you have to live someplace where you got a lot of land. We don't have a lot of land. We just have an acre. And also someplace where nobody's caring much about code enforcement and stuff. I don't think really anybody's caring about code enforcement up here, but hello again, Amadeo Joshua GT. Well, I mean, the house itself occupies, a decent amount of it. The driveway occupies a decent amount of it. The retaining wall and little cosp of trees occupies some of it. The hill occupies some of it, and then a little bit of down there where the shed is occupies some of it. So we've got very little. We got basically no, except for the shed spot. We got no flat land that's not already taken by something. The house, the deck, the backyard flagstone thing, the driveway, the parking area, the retaining wall, cosp, the hill. So it's like we don't really have much usable land that's not already used, right? We do have the hill, but it's kind of steep. I'm not sure what we do on that hill except just walk down. I'll probably plant weed there. I'll also plant it in the cosp of trees out behind the retaining wall. I'll plant it all over the fucking place. But I need to get some seeds and stuff. That'll be fun. I suspect that it'll grow well once it gets warmer around here. I have a little question. Can introverts feel lonely? Of course. Introverts aren't isolationists. They're just introverts. They need human companionship too. But they're just they're less. I think introverts like people a little bit less, is what it boils down to. Although certain extroverts don't like people either. Uh, Introverts find it draining to deal with people all the time because people require interface or action. And introverts definitionally are either knowers or deliberators first. So it's understandable they're going to find it tiring dealing with people. Sometimes the having is not the same as the wanting. I think every time the having is not the same as the wanting. I don't think it's just sometimes. Introverts have a harder time escaping loneliness. That might be the case. I don't know. I was lonely for stretches of time sometimes in my life, but not for a while really. Loneliness hasn't been a problem for me in quite some time. Mostly because of this channel. I didn't even know I was lonely until no, I don't want to watch that. Here. What I do want to do is put down this thing onto the ground. Then I want to go back inside and make myself a cup of coffee, another cup of coffee. I also have to pee. And then I want to come out here and discuss with you my urine that I have, that I just had, that I will have just had. Okay. Let me put you actually over here a bit more. And you can see the driveway. I'll be right back. Okay. Now I'm back. I've gone pee, and I'll tell you this much right now. Without any further ado, I'll tell you this much. It's going to be a multi-poo Tuesday for me. I already pooed earlier before I even started streaming. And I can tell. I've got at least one more poo in me this morning. Maybe two. I ate a lot yesterday. I made this big chicken and rice thing for dinner and ate a shit ton of it. And then I ate this gummy, so I was like super hungry during the night. Smoking weed does not give me the munchies, but eating it always does make me super hungry. In the middle of the night, I got up and I was just eating candy and Cheez-Its and chips and, now it's like, oh no, I got so much poo in me. What am I going to do with all this poo? And the answer is, you're going to have to just let it out of your butt, Eric. Just let it free. Trouble wants outside. St. Cameron has been such a saint this whole way, But he's also had some nicely illustrative moments that like are reflective of SE Fifth. For example, he was sort of ranting about going to the gym the other day with Rachel, to Rachel or whatever. You want to go back in? Fine. This cat cannot decide whether he wants to be in or out. He doesn't want to go outside till it's a little warmer than this. Give it another hour or two and he'll be like, okay, now it's time to go outside. Anyway, Cameron was talking about how dumb it is to go to the gym when you can do work that gets you, maybe it was in the stream even, that gets you the same amount of exercise, but accomplishes impact beyond just the exercise. That's very fifth slot SE value, That's a big pile of snow over there. Chad's gonna have to do some more pushing of that snow. See, it's like, that's the retaining wall. It's over there. That big pile of snow. So look at me walk. Very tall. It's very much taller than me. Like 10 feet tall, that pile of snow over there. That's a big pile of snow. So, and then there's all this little snow down here that I guess I'll move at some point this morning. Might just wait for Chad, I don't know. Just think, if you were living in Arcadia with all that snowfall, you would be having so many meows. It faded away before I could read it. So yeah, this kind of weather disaster, for lack of a better word. Because, like I said, the road back here is still closed to everybody except residents. It's a one-lane road with snow on either side, all piled up. It's definitely stressful. It's hard on me and Rachel to have our ability to SE so constrained. It's like we're not good with SE shit even under optimal conditions. This is kind of like slab dictated life training or something. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to having successfully ridden this out. Now, I remember Mrs. Mom mentioned something about the Butterfly Festival beginning of May sometime. We actually have my parents' funeral in Missouri on May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So that may conflict with that. We've got the rest of March and all of April to attain a return to normalcy. Uh, Rachel and I talked a little bit about the idea of homesickness as well yesterday. And well, you would have been probably prepared for it. We were woefully unprepared for this. I did everything wrong pretty much. Like my car should never have been parked right here. I said before the snow started I should park the car in the garage next to the little wilderness car, and then I just didn't do it. So, SE8 kicks me in the ass, but I had to get kicked in the ass like this to know in the future, don't let this happen. If I stayed on top of shit, if I had I would have avoided many of the problems that we've had. But instead, I fucked around and got shot, you know, as they say in that Eminem song. DJ Horn fucked around and got shot. And Rachel's mother called her the other day, and Rachel answered the phone, which she's a little wary of doing so when her mother calls because her mother's so toxic. And she thought, well, her mom's probably worried about us given all the weather and shit. No, she wasn't. And Rachel was left with a bad taste in her mouth in that conversation, I think. That contributed somewhat to our moments of comparatively low morale we experienced yesterday. It's really tough when you're waiting for somebody to come plow your driveway. High SISE folk are good at life. I agree. I, in contrast, am not. I am bad at life. So, I hate it when me being bad at life causes Rachel consternation. No, Rachel did not tell her mother that we were getting married. We're probably only going to invite her dad and her sister. I am determined also to invite her brother's wife only without her brother, since he invited Rachel only without me to his wedding. Of course, Rachel didn't go. It wasn't because I said don't go or anything. She doesn't want to go unprotected to deal with those fucks, you know? And who can blame her? Well, I already made plans with my aunt for May 2, 3, 4. It's her brother. I don't think she wants to wait until August or whatever. And um, I want to make sure that we have our little Strauss family reunion, which is just me, Delilah, and my aunt, as far as biological Strausses go. That's all there is left. And my aunt's not her last name's not Strauss because she has her husband's last name, Thomas. Why can't they just be happy for her? Because I'm because of because Eric's Eric, you know, that's why. It's like she's mad, understandably, about all the shit they pulled with her. And I am the fiery sword of God, right? I want justice. I want to hold them accountable. No, host Eric's father's sister, my aunt. Yeah, it's not his aunt, it's my aunt. It's his little sister. And she's great. And one of the one of the positives about my dad's death is that reconnected it's reconnected me with my aunt and to a little bit to a much lesser extent my uncle too. He's not well. Yeah, I get your drift. Um, I got one surviving cousin, but he was adopted. He's not a biological cousin. What is your favorite breakfast at winter? Well, yesterday we had bacon and toast. Bacon and toast. Everybody loves some bacon and toast. Bacon and toast. Bacon and toast. Everybody loves some bacon and toast. And I sang that song while we were eating it. It was delicious. I should have gotten more bacon at the store yesterday. Ah, I thought about it. I said to myself, Eric, get more bacon. And then we passed the bacon section and I forgot about it or something. And I've been regretting it ever since.
Bueno.
Good morning, St. Cameron. How are you doing this morning?
I'm awake. Muscles are a little sore, but it's a day, so homeostasis takes time to happen.
Yeah. It would be great if Chad would arrive on the earlier side today, but we have no way of knowing. He operates, as Cameron says, on Chad time.
He's on chat time, but here's the thing. He gave me a full backstory on how he is coming early. That the guy down the street has to go to a cancer appointment. So I know it's Chad time, but maybe there's a whole Chad story. I don't know.
Chad, I'm sure Chad has his system.
Yeah.
I
think he'll be here though. I really do.
So my sister has a pet pig. Would you eat a Wilson pig after he died? I have no idea if they will. Well, you shouldn't eat any animal that dies of natural causes. You know, you should only eat animals that have been slaughtered for eating. If you eat an animal that died of natural causes, you might get some kind of disease. You don't want that. You don't want to get mad cow disease from eating your dead pet pig. You might even get mad pig disease. I love this hat so much, Mrs. Mom. Thank you for getting it for me.
It's pretty nice.
It's a great hat. When I went to hitchhike to the Triangle Market, I purposely put this hat on because I figure people are more likely to pick up somebody with a nice hat on.
I was gonna say it's Rachel and I were talking about certain things that show you're an American, like the baseball hat, the white socks. And yeah, there's something about like just making yourself seem like, oh, I should help this guy who's traveling from Finland or whatever.
Yeah, hello, good day. I'm from Finland.
Yeah, I have 12 blonde daughters for you.
I have 12 blonde daughters for you, huh?
Yeah.
What a prolific progenitor I was. Prolific progenitor is a good way of saying somebody had a lot of kids.
Or like a DJ who makes a lot of music.
Well, that would be a prolific creator, I think. Without the hat, you look like the lead singer of System of a Down. Do I? I did it all for the nookie. The nookie. So let me have a cookie.
I love how you sing Limp Bizkit instead of System of a
I
Down.
don't
That's
know
perfect.
any System of a Down songs.
It actually proves you're more cultured if you sing the wrong lyric.
So I decided to go with an equivalent theme band.
Yeah.
Seems like Limp Bizkit's equivalent to System of a Down, although I don't really know, having no familiarity with System of a Down.
You're right on it. You're correct.
Okay, I have successfully cleared the bowl of cloggage. Now what I'm going to do is open this bag. It's a sativa, and it is called LSD. I'm a real guinea pig of a man. Yep, I sure am. I don't know what that means, but I sure am. So this is the only pure sativa I ended up getting, I guess. They didn't have every one that I wanted. The first thing I said was, all right, let me get an 8 of the Skywalker. I'm like, oops, we shouldn't have that up on the menu. We're out of it. We just ran out. Okay? It's kind of like Monty Python's The Cheese Shop. Everything I wanted, they were out of. So I got second choices. Life is a waterfall. We drink from the river, then we turn around and put up our walls. Huh. How does that make it like a waterfall? I'm not sure. Using only indigenous techniques, I am now going to make my computer turn on again. Oh, those are lyrics for a System of a Down song. Life is a waterfall. We drink from the river, then we turn around and put up our walls. Those are terrible lyrics. Those are absolutely terrible lyrics. Whoever wrote those lyrics needs to come have a lyric writing consultation session with me, where I explain to him, no, you're doing it all wrong. And he goes, oh, thank you so much for teaching me. That's not how it's going to play out at all, though. He's going to be like, no, you're wrong. I'm just going to shake my head and say, shut up, you. You just shut up, Mr. System of a Down. That's how that's going to go. When I finally talk to that, you know who I really most need to talk to and really wag my finger at and just lay into is Bill Walton. But you know what else, show media? Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. Okay? And also, some of those who burn crosses are the ones who meow meow meow. That's why I'm raging against the machine. And we are the ones that want to choose, always want to play, but you never want to lose. Ariel's in the sky. When you lose small mind, you free your life. That's so totally gaff. When you lose small mind, you free your life. Listen, horrible lyric writer, you have no business giving life advice to everybody like that. You're too much of an idiot, by far. Okay? I know, sure, Smashing Pumpkins guy. Despite all my cage, I'm still just a rat in a rage. I'm still just a hat with a page. But regardless, Smashing Pumpkins guy, you are way too full of yourself. You need to get checked. You need a stiff body check on the hockey floor, on the hockey field, the ice hockey ice field. You need a stiff body check from Eric. Pow! And he goes crashing into the boards. Oh, my pumpkins are smashed, he'll say. Well, that's right, your pumpkins are smashed. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, Smashing Pumpkins guy. Today is not the greatest day of your life, because today is the day that Eric scolds you. They played that song at my college graduation. Today is the greatest day I've ever known. Can't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's much too long. It's a really good song. You can't take that away from the guy. He's got some fantastic songs, a few of them, you know. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in the cage is not one of them. But today is a pretty great song. Pretty great. You know. And you can't take that away. No, you can't take that away from him. This is what it sounds like when the doves cry. Boo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Boo, hoo, hoo, hoo. That's what it sounds like when the doves cry. Do you think, I want to ask this person to each of the 8 people currently watching the stream, would you self-identify as more like Prince's father, too cold, or more like Prince's mother, never satisfied? Which do you more self-identify as? Prince's father or Prince's mother? Would you expect Bill Walton to be in the lead singer for the Dave Matthews Band? Or would you expect the Dave Matthews Band and Bill Walton are the only songs in sport in Helltown? I mean, in hell, Bill Walton commentates every basketball game, and Dave Matthews Band plays every show. And those are your 2 choices for entertainment. You can watch Bill Walton commentate and destroy any pleasure from watching a basketball game, or you could endure the torture of a Dave Matthews Band concert. And those are your only 2 activity choices. Otherwise, you just have to wait for someone to come clear your driveway. Those are your 3 options in hell. You can wait at home for someone to come plow your driveway, or you could go to a Dave Matthews Band concert, or you could listen to Bill Walton commentate a basketball game. Like listening to Bill Walton on the radio. You can't even watch the game. You just have to listen to the simulcast on the radio. Back in the day, Dodger baseball used to have simulcasts frequently, and same with the Lakers. They had simulcasts where, like, Chick Hearn would call the game, on the radio and the TV would have the same audio, right? Or with the Dodgers, they'd have two people. They had Ben Scully and Ross Porter, and they would change off every inning. So one inning, Ben would do the TV, and then the next inning, Ben would do the radio, and Ross Porter would switch back and forth with them. So that was not a simulcast, I guess, but it was kind of like a hybrid simulcast or something. Sometimes they'd have a straight up simulcast, and even then, Ben and Ross would alternate innings a lot of times, and but they it would be the same audio for both the TV and the radio. I know this because I grew up in a home in which my mother was a Dodger fanatic. You know, she loved listening to every Dodger game, and my dad loved listening to Laker games. I did too when Chick Hearn was a broadcaster. Chick Hearn was such a great broadcaster, such a great ENTP. Chick Hearn was an ENTP and, in my opinion, the greatest basketball announcer of all time. And way more standout than Vin Scully. Vin Scully stands out for his consistency, steadiness, pleasantness, etc. ISFJ qualities, you know. Vin Scully was a a paragon of ISFJs. In contrast, Chick Hearn was the best basketball announcer of all time, and he was an ENTP. He defined the job. He was so good. Ambidextrous. SE Dom? Possibly. Possibly. I mean, the thing is, never underestimate TE Doms to work themselves into a position where they're going to be successful, even in things they're not naturally talented at. Rachel was telling me about her ENTJ cousin who's like dead set determined, working her ass off to become a dancer, but has no natural talent for it. You know, ENTJs like accomplishments a lot. Cameron's brother's an ENTJ, and he's very accomplished and has, he graduated from Harvard, and he's a very successful lawyer. And
he mastered accomplishment since this young age. He just always knew the thing that he could do that would be accepted in our family, which there were a lot of like no's and limitations, but he always knew the thing he could do and then go rip ass at it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's TE and SE is absolute values. You're obviously going to be very successful with TE and SE's absolute values. Unfortunately, as with all TE DOMs, people get themselves into positions, etc., where they're not really qualified to ideally do the job. Now, I don't doubt that Bailey's a fine enough lawyer, but ENTJs don't naturally have legal minds. The best lawyers and judges and such are NTPs. I mean, there's just really no exceptions to that. So it's frustrating being an NTP, somebody who has much less capacity nor valuing of TE and SE, to see people who are less naturally qualified being successful in positions where NTPs don't end up because we don't like jumping through hoops. We just refuse to jump through hoops by and large. Things have to be legitimate, independent of outcomes for NTPs to affirm them, whereas ENTJs, they don't give a fuck, right? They do not give a fuck about whether things are correct in and of themselves. They just care about whether they understand it correctly to attain the outcomes they want. So, I wouldn't want to be an ENTJ myself. No way in hell. I wouldn't want to be SI polar. It's a nightmare in my opinion. And I also would just hate to be incorrect about things in general. I couldn't, being my type and being who I am in the particularist means I could never dream of living a life that doesn't prioritize correctness and intuition above outcomes, goals, things like that. What's interesting is Cameron, who has SE fifth, who values impacts a lot. One thing that he was telling me that he like respects is that I've successfully managed to sell that house and move up here, and his brother's been trying to sell his house for a long time and has not been successful at it. Now, of all the things that might be pointed to draw a distinction, that's not one that I would ever draw as meaning much. But that's because I don't. Those SE things are always instrumental for me. They're not outcomes in and of themselves. I'm not trying to sell a house. I'm trying to sell a house to get the fuck out of there. I'm not trying to buy a house to buy a house. I'm trying to buy a house so I have someplace better to live. So yeah, I mean the thing is that whole sell that house, buy this house shit happened phenomenally fast. Considering the fact that we bought this house on a contingency buy, just phenomenally fast. Uh, we had this contingency buy where we had to get our house closed escrow by January 21st, or we were going to lose $2,500, which wasn't a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But anyway, we actually closed that fucking house before the 21st, even though we didn't even open escrow till like the 5th or something. I mean, even though we didn't start showing the house until like the 5th. That's how fucking fast we closed that shit. It's crazy. Or like the 3rd or something. We showed it for a week, had a 10-day escrow, and bam, we closed that fucking thing. So tell your brother to try burying a Saint Joseph. The religious store is selling. I'm sure Bailey is not going to be. He's not going to be into that.
Yeah. There was a time when we would go like to Chinatown and buy little random elephant statues and stuff with yin yang symbols on it and stuff like that. But yeah, my brother does not.
He's not very into magical thinking, huh?
Not one bit.
No, I wouldn't imagine he would be.
Nope.
He was the friend we had in high school that was always too busy to hang out. He was always doing shit to attain goals rather than hanging out with us, fucking around. You did an impressive job selling your home and dealing with an unethical realtor. I mean, I only really made 2 good decisions the whole time. One was to pick the listing price, and the other was to fire that bitch. Those are my 2 good decisions that I made. The rest of the things is just like, things just happen. It was the glorious reality of having an ESFP realtor up here that really made everything happen like we wanted it to. He's the one who put together this contingency buy and everything. He wanted to make sure that he got his commission for this place, which was only like $13,000, I think. We didn't have to pay it, but anyway, we've been trying to go see him and give him these. We bought him a gift basket, Easter basket actually, and we got a big bottle of Bombay Sapphire, a big bottle of Absolute, and a little bottle of tequila that'll fit in there nicely. And we want to give him that as a present, but we've been stuck here, we haven't been able to get out. We've been stuck here like Heather Locklear. Let me go get my coffee. Excuse me a moment, if you will. I'll turn that light on. So I wonder what comprises early in Chad's mind. Because like Cameron and I both get up pretty damn early. I'm usually up every day uh, before 6 a.m. Trouble doesn't really let me sleep in. But anyway, you can probably see better now what's going on with the driveway. Now I'm standing over here. Hi, everybody. Look at me. I'm walking, but I'm not going anywhere. Why not? Because I'm not moving my feet. Oh no. I didn't realize Chad pushed over my flagpole. Well, I'll have to take that flagpole down, I guess. Oh well, I don't need a flagpole, whatever. Chad, why did you knock over our flagpole? Look at that. See? It's bent over now. It must be because Chad pushed snow into it. Well, I guess I'll just break it down and get rid of it, I don't know what else to do with it. The alternative is trying to repair it, I guess. Well, all things considered, that's something I could deal with. I can deal with a broken down flagpole. I'm glad he didn't break the flagpole lights. And then I'll still have a light at the end of the driveway there, if I want to turn that on.
I don't know if you want to switch to try to start the car.
Okay, yeah, well, you can try to start the car. That sounds good.
We'll just need to see if that hood is frozen shut is the biggest deal.
Well, also, the exhaust pipe seems to be filled with snow.
That'll just shoot out, but since you're outside and you've got shoes and stuff, if you do see if your hood.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll check it out right now. Let me go grab my keys. And then we'll see if the hood to the car opens. Maybe he's got a big one or something.
Yeah, he has one that keeps lifting.
It must be bigger than mine.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess the door's not locked because Cameron got in here yesterday. But well, the battery's not dead because the lights are on inside the car. So the battery's not dead. That's so weird. You fixed it. just when I got in and the overhead lights and stuff came on, so.
Wow, that was so weird. I wonder what.
Did you push the clutch in?
Yeah, I pushed the clutch in. You have to jam it in hard? That's so weird. Do you have to put your key into the key slot for the car to go? I'm used to the plug-in pocket. The Tesla, you put in your pocket, you walk in the car, and it just drives right now.
Oh, that's good news.
It is good news.
That's a big relief.
Oh my god.
I could even try backing it up a little bit.
You're not gonna really get anywhere until we deal with that. We'll wait for what.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool.
But hey, that's pretty good news.
Well, that's what I call super good news. And in fact, it looks like when they cleared out the exhaust pipe, they ain't check anything like that. Oh, yeah!
Awesome.
So, wow, that's spectacularly good news. I was expecting to have a big hassle today getting this car down to Oakhurst, and now it looks like I don't have to. So it just didn't like the fact that the exhaust pipe was clogged with snow. So, wow, hallelujah. That's such a spectacularly good piece of news. I'm so happy about that. That is such good news. And it's funny, I went to buy a new battery yesterday at the auto parts store. But fortunately, Mini Cooper's so fucked up that changing the battery requires you to take it to the shop to just change the battery. And here's another piece of good news. We don't have a sled. We do have very large flattened boxes. We could go sledding on those very large flattened boxes. I let it run for multiple times during it being buried under the snow, so it seems to be fine. The reason it had any problems at all that the engine light came on was because I was idling it, but I hadn't cleared all the snow from behind it, so I think it wasn't, the exhaust wasn't getting out enough.
That would make your oxygen sensor catalytic, and the catalytic would work, but your oxygen sensors would say weird stuff.
Yeah, so I guess that was the problem. So it also looks though that the roof was kind of smashed in a little bit, maybe.
Sometimes you pop it, just slam it from the inside and it's all fixed.
Did you see the flagpole got pushed over?
Yeah, he told me it was pushing snow and the snow pushed it, so it's pretty well expected for.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about losing a flagpole.
We could probably straighten it and pour some cement or something. See how it's made or whatever.
I mean, I might be just as happy without a flagpole, you know.
That'd be easy to do. Yeah.
Temps rise, it says here on the computer. That's good news. We'll melt some of this horrible white stuff that's all about it everywhere. There's so much white stuff everywhere, and I lost my arm. Poor Tiffany had such a traumatic injury, you know. Her arm came off.
At least now she can get benefits from the government.
Right, she can go on disability. Okay, well, it's not going to rain tomorrow anymore. It's not going to start until Thursday now.
Sweet.
That's what the weather forecast says. It's always changing its mind about the future.
Maybe we'll take the wilderness car out after all.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just not going to start tomorrow. There's no reason why you have to leave today, you know?
Yeah, I'll just go tomorrow if we've got good weather, totally.
It's beautiful out there and dangerous. It is dangerous out there. Walking on that, like when Rachel and I got back from Mr. Fix It So the Slabs Won't Muggity Meow. Yeah, that's a good saying to have. Fix it so the slabs won't muggity meow. There. Now we're up close and personal. We've got a level of intimacy we've never attained before. And personally, I'm feeling very moist. We had two of those like saucer sleds that were here at the house, and I got rid of them with it when I called the junk get rid of people to come get rid of our junk. And I kind of regret getting rid of them now, but too late for regrets. Too late for regrets.
You may
'Cause
have
it's-
a box lid or a trash can lid that might, like a plastic box lid, might work for like one run.
Yeah, it's true. Plastic box lid is not a terrible idea. We do also have cardboard, but that probably would get all soggy.
Thank you, Winston's mom. Nice to hang out with you again.
Yeah, it's always a delight to have a little broadening of the skill sets. Cameron definitely brings all sorts of skills that I don't have to the table here, which can make for some fun streams too, because instead of just Eric talking, we're sometimes doing things. But I am really looking forward, if we can, Cameron, to taking that little wilderness cart all the way to Clearwater,
Totally.
see that mine.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and make some videos there, because there's this old mine camp called Clearwater that's 3 miles out from the little road that's over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the quickest way to get to it, is to drive to that little road, and then go in there. But apparently it's super cool, and I want to go there. And if there's a stream running past there at all, now's a good time to look for gold. I am in an area where historically they found a lot of gold, and they still periodically people find placer gold, as they call it, in streams and rivers and stuff. So it's not inconceivable, after all these storms, that the riverbed was disrupted a lot, and it unveiled some buried gold. It's not inconceivable. I don't want to spend too much time with my hands in super cold water trying to find it, but I'll keep a casual eye out for something that glints in the water, because that would be cool if I could find a gold nugget. It's like we live 14 miles or so from coarse gold, which is named coarse gold because they found such coarse gold there. Obviously, almost all the placer gold that used to exist, well, that won't be a stream, Winston's phone. There's no way I'm going to get any kind of internet out there in the wilderness. But what I will do is make videos for upload. I have some videos that I want to do a time lapse of me shoveling the pathway before Cameron even got here. But because of my internet situation here, it can take a long time for longer videos to upload to Google Photos. I also have, that's not a bad idea, Winston. If I wanted to pan for gold, to buy a couple of those orange dishwashing gloves, like Cameron brought a pair of them up here, and then you could put like regular gloves on underneath that, and if you avoided getting water inside the rubber gloves, your hands would probably stay pretty warm. You might have to put like a rubber band on this part of the orange gloves,
I think I might have some ski gloves with me.
I mean, I have lots of different kinds of gloves, but what Winston's mom was talking about is panning for gold.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Unless we take, like, if you've got do you have a colander or something?
Yeah.
Some kitchen tools, little, you're supposed to get pans with different hole sizes in them, but I think some of the pans are just flat bottom, and you just like dig it in there and you swirl it around.
Right.
I don't know if your hand has to be as involved if you have a little aluminum pan or something.
That kind of panning for gold, where you just scoop up the sand and swirl it around, you're looking mostly for gold dust.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of your pan, you'll see little specks of gold if you do it right or whatever.
You're
But,
going right for the gusto. You want gold rocks.
yeah, I want to find just sitting on the ground, just get lucky and find a big gold nugget.
All right.
Like divers wear. Well, yeah, I'm sure if I had cold water diving gloves, those would be good for panning for gold. But the thing is, you have to retain some capacity to move your hands with dexterity, so you can't wear like mittens exactly. You have to. The gloves have to be small enough that you can move your fingers around, I think.
One of the things that we did at Camp Bluff Lake, the YMCA camp, we would go on this treasure hunt. So the camp counselors would get gold paint and rocks about this size, and they would paint the rocks. And then one morning, the camp counselors would go scatter these rocks all around the camp. And then if you turned in a gold rock to the camp counselor, you would get a candy bar.
It's like Easter egg hunt.
It was like an Easter egg hunt. It was pretty cool. It always made me think I wanted to paint rocks gold and scatter them in places for tourists to find. I mean, we could paint a few gold rocks and place them in Yon Hills and really make someone's day.
No, you really ruined someone's day. For a second, they'd think, oh, I found a big piece of gold, and then they'd realize, no, I didn't.
Cameron painted a rock and is laughing from afar.
Well, now we only have 3 people here, so we like lost 6 people in like 30 seconds for some reason. I guess I must have talked about something very dull. Let's see, how long have we been streaming? 96 minutes. That's an hour and a half or so. I'll probably go 2 hours and then wrap this up. I've said most of what I wanted to say starting the day. I talked about Rachel and my morale dip at some point yesterday. It's like waiting is so unpleasant. It's the opposite of everything you want to be or do is waiting. And just having things like up in the air. Like, should I start clearing this stuff out myself? Because should I assume Chad's not going to show up? Because it's so late in the day? Should I go to the town? Should I borrow Cameron's car? Like, all these things are contingent on stuff we can't possibly know the answer to. Like, when Chad's going to be here. So, anyway.
To me, it feels like childhood, like being in school where you're sentenced to this school prison sentence for 13 years with no control. It doesn't help you in any way. It's stupid. It's just a prison sentence.
Youth prison camp.
Yeah, the opposite is you have freedom. Your parents are gone. You could jump your bike. You could set fires in the yard, whatever you want. So you're used to having actual freedom now, and then Chad's not here. You have to it's like waiting for the 3 o'clock bell.
Yeah.
Waiting for someone else to be in control of your life.
Or in this instance, though, the good news is I'm waiting for somebody else to return control of my life to me.
Yeah.
Once the driveway is clear and I can pull out my car, then all of our problems are solved because I can go to town and get whatever I need. I don't have to think that far ahead. I can take the little wilderness car out and back it in this time. I can call the dump run people and get myself unburied from trash, because right now I'm just buried in trash. And who knows when the trash men are going to be able to get up here. For as long as that sign at Triangle Road and Jerseyville Road says, road closed, residents only, I'm assuming we're going to get neither trash nor mail nor package delivery nor anything else, really. We don't we don't have any bacon. I would not. That's a terrible strategy. What's involved? I'm not going to follow that advice. But not a terrible notion. So yeah, if you look up Clearwater, Mariposa, if you Google it, you'll find some results about it. As recently as 1988, the original family who had claims to that mine, one of their old descendants was still mining it like he was in the 1940s or something, and he had a sign up at his mine claims that said "Shooting will be reciprocated," which
Nice.
I think is a great sign. And he said, "No one, nobody ever shot that sign," and I ain't never had to shoot back. I like that sign a lot better than the sign my neighbors across the street have at their front of their driveway. Trespassers will be shot.
Which house has that?
The loud house up on the hill with the kids and the dog.
Those nice people?
I mean, I've never
Like
actually
that?
talked to them at all.
Weren't they the ones who? I feel like maybe I met them once on the top of your driveway. I don't know. I don't know who anyone is. I got to make a map of people and names.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met them, but they've got a couple of kids. They frequently enough are like yelling out their door for their dog or something, and they're kind of a chaotic group, but no skin off my back. It's like this house is also pretty soundproof, so when we're inside here, I never hear shit from outside except maybe some dripping of the water or something. Um, or it would have to be something really loud, like a helicopter, for me to hear it inside. Really, it's so quiet inside here. It's perfect for recording music and stuff. If I turn off the like heat overhead heater or the fans and stuff like that. But I haven't even unwrapped my guitar yet. I've got my guitar there in the corner. It's still all bubble wrapped up. I just haven't felt very creatively inspired, creatively inclined. Um, Another thing you might say is I've not been on any speed. When I do speed, I like to play music a lot. And I think I might, when I call back my doctor today to find out what the hell's going on, like why they didn't call in my prescription, I think I'm going to say, you know what? Let me talk to Dr. Chen or something because I want to change medication. With this Adderall shortage, I cannot get any Adderall, so put me on Vyvanse. Vyvanse is a newer medication than Adderall. And where is that ES335 at? I don't know what an ES335 is. If it's a guitar I talked about before, it's at the Mariposa Music Store. I am generally planning to. No. You gotta look at Clearwater Mine, Mariposa County, California. That Clearwater Mine that you're talking about is not the Clearwater Mine I'm talking about. So, like an Epiphone? I think he played like an Epiphone or something. Let me Google this Clearwater Mine thing here. Oh, that's right. Wait. One of the bad things that happened with the power going on and off is I put my key, when the power went back on, I put my keyboard on top of this thing. Then the power went back off, and Rachel turned the propane heater on and melted my keyboard. Not her fault, understandable thing to do, but unfortunate. Clear water, my Mariposa. Oh, it's called Sweetwater. That's why you couldn't find it. I told you the wrong name. It's called Sweetwater Mine, not Clearwater. My mistake. Here's a link to a story about it. No, the reason it's not your oof, it's my oof. Because, in fact, I told you the wrong name. That's why. I told you the wrong name. Yeah, it's the Sweetwater Mine. Obviously, if you Google Clearwater Mine and it's not called that, then you're gonna encounter some problems. So we have only Eric to blame for that particular failure. Yeah, I melted my USB keyboard because I said, "Oh, good, the power's back on. I can use this thing as a table." I mean, it's a great table right next to my chair. I can put things like the keyboard on it as long as the power's on, because we never use these propane heaters with the power's on, because the central heating's so goddamn effective. It's like you put it at 67 and it starts getting hot in the middle of the night. I had to turn the fan on to keep the air circulating so I didn't overheat.
It'd be a great like French fry eating table though. You know, you've got a little plate of French fries, leave them on there. It'd be ideal.
Yeah. Life in the old days remain a sweet memory for gold miner Charles Hillinger from 1988. Yep. And if you look at that, you'll see what I was talking about. This guy, as of 1988, was still mining this mine, and at the entrance to his 10 claims on 200 acres is a sign proclaiming Sweetwater Mine. Shooting will be reciprocated. Sign's been here 20 years. Nobody shot a hole in it yet. I haven't had to shoot back at anybody, he said. An American flag flies from the porch of his sturdy old shack, which is heated by an ancient pot-bellied wood stove. He cooks his beans and other grub on a 1925 gas range. His floor is covered with a layer of filth dragged in over the years as it never swept away. Rusty old mining equipment is all over his diggings. I don't throw anything away. Never know when I'm going to need it, he says. I've added the accent.
Vacuum cleaners be shot around here. Cameron, stay away.
And he says, wouldn't swap this life for anything. If I struck it rich, I'd never leave. I'd just keep digging deeper and deeper and further into the mountain, plowing all the money into the hole, looking for more. It's the lure of gold that keeps me going, and the thrill of finding it, he explained, his sharp blue eyes brightening with excitement. Doesn't he sound like quite the character? He does. He sounds like quite the character. And I guess he left it to the forest people or whatever. Maybe the county of Mariposa when he died or something.
Maybe we could shoot that sign.
I bet you that sign's not there anymore. That was from 1988, that article.
Yeah, I'm sure someone stole the sign already, sold it on eBay.
All right, well, it said there's an editor's update in 2012 that says most of the artifacts have been stolen from the area, but the buildings are still there. So it sounds like basically a dream kid's fort situation. Like if you're a little kid, you could go out there by yourself with your girlfriends and play forts. Even if you're an adult, you might have a fun time playing forts. I could see myself and Cameron and Rachel having a fun time playing forts.
Totally.
We could pretend to have guns and say pew 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 at each other from behind our fort walls. That would be fun. Everybody loves saying pew pew pew. That means you're shooting people. Pew pew pew. It's okay. Pew pew pewing is just pretend shooting. Pretend shooting doesn't hurt anybody. Unlike real shooting, which hurts everybody's heart. There is some snow on top of my roof. Look at the snow on top of my roof. There's a lot of snow on top of my roof. Look at all that snow on top of my roof. Look at all the snow, it's on top of my roof. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That song's called Look at All the Snow on Top of My Roof. Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't worry, I'm still here. You just can't see me. Because I'm hiding in a coquettish fashion. Yeah, I'm shyly flirtatious like that. Here I am. Whoop. There I am. Where are you, Eric? Whoop. Thank you, thank you. I call that Eric being coquettish. There's a different view. Look at all the snow on top of my roof. There's a lot of snow on top of my roof. If you want to see snow on top of a roof, you should look at this snow on top of my roof. This room. I could push it off some, but it doesn't push off that well because it's kind of frozen. It's frozen. Frozen as a rock. Yeah, it's frozen. You can see a spot there where I need to paint. I want to squirt down the house in general to get it cleaned up a little bit, and then get all the spots I need to paint them, clean up in general. But now is probably not the best time to do that because we're dealing with this mountain of snow over here. We're gonna push it over the edge of the hill. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, hey, why is there a lot of snow right here? Okay. You can see where trouble went out to work again today. It looks like, well, it's hard to tell now which one he took, but it looks like it's this one. He goes out to work this way, comes home that way. He's got an important kitty job. We're not sure what it is, but he's a bit of a workaholic, He's gone all day, every day, pretty much, unless it's really storming up a storm. Eric, if you're if you're not able to accomplish what you want in one term, would you serve another term? And it's not likely to be the case. No, because I have a well-defined set of goals, and they're not overreaching. The things I want to do, the most important things I want to do by a case law. using the Justice Department. I can do that in one term. It doesn't require any cooperation with the legislature at all. I have a vague aspiration, would like to make happen if possible, the federalization of homelessness services as per my described plan for homeless town. But it's not a huge, it's not my, if I can't get cooperation from people on that, I'll use that lack of cooperation as leverage, you know. I'm a pragmatist. And I'm also selfish. So the country gets me for 4 years, and that's it. And I will have done my duty as a citizen at that point. The other thing can accomplish in 4 years just as well as I can accomplish in 8 is changing the discourse about politics, changing the norms for what qualifies as adequate discourse. And that's the most important thing I can do of all. And it involves no actual executive stuff except making speeches and being correct. Yeah, we're not getting any more animals than we currently have. Our 2 cats are plenty. And, they require little of us except that we be home, to let trouble in when he gets home from work, basically. And later in the year, that may not even be required. Trouble may end up staying out all night during the summer. I don't know. He may end up getting eaten by a bobcat at some point, but such is life, On the other hand, he may not. He's a pretty savvy, tough cat. He's pretty aware of his surroundings and stuff. Very much still a wild cat in a lot of ways. Where am I getting this black stuff on me from? I wonder where I got that from. Oh, I know. It must be that broom. No, I'm not waiting for Trudeau or Godot. I'm waiting for Chad-eau. Because Chad is the one who does what? Pushes snow around with his snowplow. I, in contrast, have no snowplow. I am snowplow impaired.
Well, that's another thing Chad said. He didn't even call it a snowblower, he called it a blower. So my mind was confused. He said, get a torch and a blower, but blower means a snowblower. But he said your snowblower that I bought you and I chose is way too small. So that's just the thing.
Well, I saw one of the neighbors had bought a snowblower. He had to get it off of Craigslist too. It's like you can't find them in stores around, and his was better than the one we got. I was a little jealous, but you know what, Cameron? I think you did a great job finding any snowblower at all.
Well, thank you.
Given the circumstances, everybody in the world's got to be looking for them.
It was short notice, and I think I talked to Eric at maybe 1 or 2 p.m. And then by 8 or 9 p.m., I had a new generator in my car from Home Depot, having looked a few up. Had looked up a bunch of snowblowers, new, used, open box, and found this, I think it's a Toro 518 EZ snowblower, which, it sounds great from the internet, but you get out to the actual snow and it does about the job of one snow shovel. So, not the most impressive. So, have with me right now, have a Star Wars beanie. I did not buy it. Someone gave me a Star Wars beanie so I can be a dork. Bam. So Boba Fett should be really interesting. Any Mini Cooper fans out there? No, Eric likes the Mini Cooper. I tried to drive my friend's Mini Cooper the other day. It's like a couple-year-old one with automatic transmission, you have to do all these things to make it start. You have to press buttons and just do stuff you wouldn't normally do on a regular car. And so yesterday I couldn't even start Eric's car. He's got this like key fob and it's got a special start button. I took the key fob inside the car. I pressed the start button, but I didn't install the key fob into the dashboard. So I made all of us think that the battery was no good. Okay, I'm reading. So I have my iPad here, but then it's easier to read on the TV over there. So I'm looking at the comments over there. We got my comments about cats, my favorite thing. Boba Fett. Everyone says, "Well, really, that's a nice thing, 'cause I've been spending all my time on Discord, not really feeling streaming, but I'm thinking I probably will this weekend." Okay. Discord, I've heard of that. Also, yeah, nice. I just saw this dude. I'll definitely check him out. Okay. What's up, Cameron? What's up, CJ O'Connell? How are you? Eric, feel free to host.
Okay, yeah, will do. Thank you for taking over briefly.
They're really entertaining.
CJ, you go ahead and check him out if you want to, but he's one of those people who's coming in trying to say that I'm an ISFJ and shit like that, you know, so
Okay.
he's either a hater or an idiot.
If haters are, if they could be smart about their arguments, it'd be worthwhile. But when people are just dumb and annoying,
Well, I mean,
takes me back to teaching kids.
There's absolutely no good argument for defending the claim that I'm an ISFJ if you know anything about cognitive functions at all. It's impossible to sustain that claim. So, if you're spending a lot of time and energy, or any time and energy, trying to delegitimize what I'm saying on the grounds that I've got my own type wrong, or on the grounds that something I'm doing in a typing session is misidentifying meow as meow, which you also apparently said, well, then you've got no business talking about cognitive functions, or your whole thing is hating me. He could be a hatiot, a hatiot. I think most haters are idiots as well, but not all.
You can get stuck in negative patterns, especially if you don't have shit going on, and then just criticizing other people's stuff negatively seems like a thing to do, even though it's not. It's like protesting in public, another thing that doesn't affect any change in anybody's life, the way I see it.
Hey, Dios, amigos. Yeah. So, haters gonna hate, but you know what else? Players gonna play. And when it comes to the intellectual equivalent of slaying puss, well, I'm as alpha male as they come. When it comes to actually slaying puss, I definitely am not. I'm very happy to have just one puss to reslay over and over again.
That would be so freaking big hassle to have more than one. I couldn't.
I know, who would
I
want
mean,
more
what if
than
it's a
one?
fantasy until you actually think about it?
It's not for me a fantasy. I already know that I enjoy sex with the same person that I get increasingly comfortable with over years. That's what I want, and that's what I have. I definitely don't like having sex with some new person, that's always a nightmare.
You
for
gotta
me.
learn the whole awkwardness and like, I don't do this, don't look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, all the awkwardness in sex. It's the first knowing that they want to have sex with you, and you don't always know, and then, oh yeah, people like different shit for sure. And if people have watched porn and don't have experience with others, they could like think sex is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Because porn gives this like weird version of how it would be, which isn't really.
I mean, the thing is, if you just look at my body of work, it would be difficult to sustain the claim that I'm an ISFJ because it's not like I'm doing this for a media company or something where I'm getting paid to produce all this work, or I'm doing it for any kind of monetary reasons. I keep live streaming and talking and making videos and talking and talking and talking and talking for one reason only, because that's who I am, you know? And I, that's definitely not an ISFJ. ISFJs are, they might briefly look like ENTPs. ENTPs might briefly look like ISFJs, but if you look at the totality of work product, it's more or less impossible to make the claim that I'm an ISFJ and not be just laughed out of the room by anybody who has any serious understanding of cognitive functions. I mean, ENTPs are known as the debater types, right? I spent my career as a professional debate coach and an extremely good and effective one at that. ISFJs don't have that in their wheelhouse at all. So it's kind of crazy, ridiculous claim to make. Yes, we're waiting for Chad, but I've got some excellent news, Rachel Apolosa. Guess whose car is working just fine? Ours. It is not broken at all. Cameron didn't think he had to put the key in the ignition.
Sorry.
So fortunately, we didn't buy any battery because it fortunately turns out it's good that Mini Cooper is so horrible about their shop requirements. Like we don't, you can't change your own battery. You have to take it to the shop to get the battery changed. But that prevented us from buying a battery, which was nice. And when we got here, it's a very pleasant surprise this morning to discover that the car's working fine. It does look like the top of it might have been smushed down a little bit by the weight of the snow, but that's not that big of a deal. And when I cleared out the exhaust pipe, the check engine light even went off. So we're in good shape. Rachel, you have LA in your name, and you ended up in LA.
Go Louisiana.
It's one thing to say you're misaligned in this way, but it's another thing to actually be ultimately good at being the type you're purporting to be. Right. Or to behave like it consistently over the course of years, you know? I behave like I'm in any DOM consistently over the course of years. There aren't big breaks of time in which I'm not producing content, unless there's been power outages, you know, that prevented me from producing content. And my content is on the vast majority of it is me just talking about things. So that's indicative of the fact that I'm not an ISFJ. But what's even more powerfully indicative is how I'm so bad at SI stuff. I have a terrible relationship with my objects, even though I'd like to have a much better one. I'm starting to understand the importance of that because of living here, you know. And etc. You know, SI DOMs have good relationships with their objects. They know where their shit is. They spend time to organize stuff properly, or at least you know make it look nice. My friend Dave Porter, he's got such well organized stuff. He's an ISFJ. He doesn't have any TE, but it doesn't matter. He still has great organization of his stuff. No, SI DOMs are not dumb at all. They just have a different set of strengths than ENTPs. So one of the reasons why Cameron and I get along well and have a good time together is that we're not stepping on each other's toes. We have distinct and complementary skill sets. Cameron helps me to get out and do more stuff and not just sit around and watch media, and he helps me to remember that there's a lot of satisfaction in sort of taking care of your home and your property. Especially, this is the first time I've ever owned a home myself, and been like, this is my house. And Cameron helps me to understand better how to live in a house. I'm not very good at that.
I've been tasked with making people's houses work more correctly for quite a while. So
CJ O'Connell says, "Yeah, it's like the consistency and quality with reference to which which type you think you are. With you, I can't even think of you being any other type than EHP realistically." Yeah, that's true, and it's not just from being told it; it's like blatantly observable, right? If you know about cognitive functions, actually, it's extremely difficult to make a honest case that I'm not an ENTP. If I'm not an ENTP, who is? It's I check all the boxes. Um, the consistency that I have is itself inconsistent. So I consistently produce media, but I don't consistently produce the same kind of media. I'm just an IHB on that. I haven't had any speed in a long time. So this is just regular Eric you're getting. Eric with a bong rip or two on him is all.
Eric, I was gonna make some oatmeal. You want some?
Uh, is that Chad? I just heard like,
It might be Rachel upstairs.
oh yeah, it might be. I guess. Yeah, I don't see anything resembling a Chad. So I guess it was just Rachel. I think I'm gonna have a I think I'm gonna have a muffin instead of it.
I tend to eat my sweets late night.
Yeah.
Rarely in the morning.
So look what I'm gonna eat for breakfast. A muffin. When Rachel and I borrowed Cameron's car yesterday and went to Oakhurst, we went to the Bonds, and I got a 4-pack of these delicious muffins. There is an actual Chad. He's the guy who's plowing my driveway. He showed up super late in the day yesterday, so he had to come back this morning. He also accidentally pushed over my flagpole. Oh well. That kind of minor damage resulting from the storm and the ensuing work we need to get done, I can live with that. Because overall, we've been really lucky. We've had half a tree fall over, but it fell across our driveway rather than on our house or on the retaining wall or whatever. And it fell on top of snow, so it probably didn't even crack the driveway. And then we got a rain gutter around the back that I'm gonna have to replace because the weight of the snow has made it break off. I'm surprised that's not true for all their rain gutters, but it's not. So overall, we're super lucky. The way you said that slightly veered in that direction. Okay. Yeah, love hate is pretty forced one. Well, according to the computer weather report, it is currently 32 degrees. It's 7:30 in the morning. So that's looking for like a pretty warmish day, and we're now supposedly not going to get any precipitation until Friday. Hopefully, the storm that comes in on Friday is representative of these new warmer temperatures, and we'll actually get rain. If we get rain, then I'm not going to have to maintain the driveway from getting. Oh, yeah, we're pretty excited about Chad. He's pretty Chadly. He seems like a super good guy. He came over with his daughters on Sunday to tell us he'd be here on Monday. And, you know, looks like he's got a lovely family and a good life as a operator of equipment. He's got an excavator. He's got a snow plow thing of some sort. I guess it's not that big, right? It's not a whole snow plow. It's like a quad with a plow on the front of it, or what?
There's a thing that looks like a bobcat that's got like a scoop on the front, and then there's like a grabbing loader thing. I snapped a couple pictures more just to remember what time stuff was happening, but I'll show you what footage.
Oh, that one. Is that Chad? Chad's here. Let me go get myself an all
You
made
see
up.
this scoop? So a thing with big ass scoop on it.
It's got a big scooper.
So I don't know what that's called. You know,
It's a digger.
fucking cool shit is what I call it.
I call it a digger.
Big ass digger, scooper, whatever.
That's pretty
Maybe that's
cool.
the excavator. I don't know. I honestly don't know what that stuff's called.
I don't know what that's called either.
And then he had another thing that he came first with that was this dude, which I call it a bobcat, but I don't know, scooping thing.
It's another scooper.
So that's Chad. He's got cool shit.
Chad's here? Let me fix my lipstick.
The thing is, you think about the 150 an hour, and he's just burning gas. Like I burned gas in the snowblower. I had to put gas in it, just doing the shit that I did, which was not very much. And he's running these really heavy duty machines. He could have burned $50 in gas easily, just on your job. So the 100 an hour is like definitely not Chad money. It's like upkeep and fixing the loader and all that.
CJ Connell someone asked what you've been up to lately, and I guessed playing guitar / drums, chatting with family, and watching artsy films. Was I close? I bet you were right on the money, Rachel. That's why you're an intuition Dom. Could you use your intuition to intuit the truth about everything? What is that? It's a squirrel. What is that? The sky. You ask Rachel any question, she knows immediately with her intuition what the answer is. When people talk about hating Trump, I examine my feelings regarding hate. I can't think of anyone who I can honestly say I hate. Why is hate so easy for others to define? Well, I mean, I would say I hate Trump, and I hate him because I love America. And he's a horrible human being who murdered an Iranian general in the name of the United States of America, assassinating him on Iraqi soil. How anybody could do anything other than despise that man for dragging America through the horse shit is beyond me. Those are just two of the kind of questions Rachel can answer. What is that? It's a squirrel. It's the sky. Where are my keys? I don't know. In that basket over there. Which of these songs is good? Neither of them. Those sort of questions are also well within her wheelhouse. Does Eric really love me? Not so much within her wheelhouse. Do you know how many of you lot Soleimani's crew killed? No, I don't. But if we're going to be killing generals of another country, we need to declare war on that country first. There's a there's a there's a procedure you got to follow if you're going to be killing people, Boba Fett, right? Maybe so. What you should be saying is you should have declared war on them a long time ago. That would be fine to say that, or you should declare war on them now. That would be fine to say that too. To just arbitrarily murder somebody that we're too chicken shit to declare war against is not okay. That if somebody then now murders U.S. officials, what are we going to say about it? We set the precedent, you know. You need some more art films that are really good. Lumao. Shma. Well, have you ever watched Tampoco? It's an old art film from the 80s that is a Japanese movie. It's about ramen. It's quite good. Tampopo or Tampoco? I don't remember. It's one of those two called. Have you ever seen a movie called Whitnail and I? Also an art film from the 80s that I remember seeing in the movie theater. I saw both of those movies in the art movie theater in Pasadena that Dave Porter and I used to go to see films at. You should try both those films out for size, CJ O'Connell. I'll repeat their titles for you. One of them is called Whitnail and I. The other is called Tampopo or Tampoco. I don't remember exactly which. One of them is Japanese, and one of them is British. From Britain. The land of Ingalls. No, not Ingalls the communist. English people. There. Now I've messed up the lighting. There. Now it's better again. I'm killing it here on today's live stream. What with the pitter patter of my little feet, the bitter batter of my banter, and the skitter scatter of yesterday's snows over the edge of the hill. It's like, look, a good film is a good film, but I am a sucker for so-called art films because I do usually find films that go in that direction are generally better. The adding the always where you put it doesn't change the meaning of anything. Always generally is not a useful distinction to make. It's generally and it's not always. If it's always generally, then it's never always, I guess, but that's already implied by generally. So, CJ, you just got busted for putting a word in that you shouldn't have put.
Bam.
You just got busted, mister. Busted. You put in always where you shouldn't have. This week, I have been listening to the history of nationalism and how people fell into that movement. At CPAC, Mr. Trump laid claim to being the retribution president, and this ties together. The job of president is to represent all of the Americans, not just the ones that are your teammates. You say always generally on purpose, though? Well, being purposefully wrong is not better than being accidentally wrong. They're both equally bad, I guess. They're always generally better? No, that's not the case. Any given specific art film might be absolutely terrible, in which case it's not always the case that art films are generally better if you want to interpret it that way. Some art films are absolutely terrible. You know, like some slow ass, boring movie. It's not good. I can't think of any because if an art film is bad, I probably won't watch it very long. Anyway, watch Popo. It's about, hey, I am ready for Chad to be coming round my mountain when he comes. He'll be coming round my mountain when he comes. He'll be coming round my mountain. He'll be coming round my mountain. He'll be coming round my mountain when he comes. No, Trouble is a Chad, but he is not Chad. Trouble is Trouble. Trouble was Trouble last night as he is every night. He wants to play. Don't come inside when Eric wants you to come inside. That's his favorite game. Or Rachel. Either of us. We say try to get him to come inside, and he just looks at us and goes, I'm standing outside right now. Or if we just come inside though. And he's like, no, I'm not coming in. I'm like, but it's fucking 35 degrees outside. What are you doing? Just come inside. He's just like, no. I'm just sitting here on the welcome mat. Okay. I think I've had enough coffee for right now. So I'm going to get a different beverage than coffee. I'm going to get myself a cup of guava nectar. Cameron, do you like a cup of guava nectar?
I'll pass. I'm a coffee man in the morning. You're gonna miss out, Eric. It's too bad you're not back home because they're having motorhome destruction at Irwindale Speedway.
Oh, yeah. I'm heartbroken to missing that.
Yep, there's NASCAR short track racing, fireworks, and motorhome destruction figure eight.
Monster trucks.
Fuck yeah!
I am going to have a glass of guava nectar because it's the classiest drink that you can get in the entire world. With this drink, I'm going to feel like this morning is a miniature trip to Hawaii. Aloha, oi, aloha, oi, alo, 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 aloha, oi. Today is one of the snowiest days in Hawaii's history. Although, at least it's all old snow. We're not getting any new snow right now, which I appreciate. And we won't get any new snow, even potentially, really, until Friday. Today is Tuesday. Having like 3 full days to put a handle on shit, wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to drive out to Boot Jack at some point today, hopefully, and write down that or take another picture of that phone number for the dump run person because we have got a garage that's growing increasingly full of kitchen trash bags full of trash. And I don't mind doing a dump run myself in my car, that's fine, but well, frankly, I don't have that much room in my car for that many bags of trash. It sounds stinky. I think I'm just going to hire somebody to take the trash away. Of course, we have trash service, but There's no way the garbage truck is getting up here anytime soon. Thanks, CJ O'Connell. If there are movies you haven't seen before, then I would say that they qualify as good recommendations. I have not seen either of those films in like 30 years or more. 35 years probably. So if they are actually good films or not, well, I'm going to have to leave that up to you to determine, because I may I may misremember whether it's good or not. I remember that guy Chad Crandall, the MBTI guy Damon Gray, also known as Damon Gray. Yes, I remember him well. I remember him with all of my remembering bones. A memory bone is something I do to Rachel when she forgets things. Helps her to remember. Yeah. Now do you remember? Yes, I remember. Tampopo. I think of the two films I named, that one is better because I remember more of it. Whitnail and I. Yo, Hero Lamb. You are like Christ himself. You're both a hero and a lamb. Isn't that nice? What a wonderful accomplishment you've attained. Somebody should give you a gold star. You know what, Hero Lamb? I declare you a gold star lesbian. That means you've never even seen a man's penis before, even in pictures. Heart, poopy heart. You heart, poopy heart. How about a host Eric short story trilogy art film, three-way catch up? Well, Rachel and I were talking about a good idea for a television show is The Supervisors Next Door, because I think that it's possible that I am Jeremy, our neighbor's supervisor. He's an ISTP, and that Kay is an ESFJ, which would mean Rachel would be her supervisor. So The Supervisors Next Door would be a good sitcom or something like that. MBTI based sitcom. I guess you have to call that socionics based, because socionics is the one with the intertype relations. So you got to give credit where credit's due. The Supervisors Next Door. Yeah, we were chatting with Kay and Jeremy the other day, and I was chatting with them, and I could see that Jeremy was like intimidated by me for no reason at all. That usually only happens with your supervisor type. Um, and then when Rachel and I walked by their house later, I realized, oh, they had never even met Rachel until that moment. I had talked to them multiple times, so I was operating under the assumption that Rachel must have met him before, you know. But that was the first time that they ever actually met, and I'm glad they met her, because I don't want them thinking I'm lying about having a wife, you know. I don't want them going like, is that guy really how we've heard about Rachel? We've never seen this mysterious woman. So anyway, they met her, and that's good. And of course, she was looking sharp AF in this rad jacket she had, sunglasses she had on. This jacket she has is super cool. I'll show it to you. It's this one right here. It looks really good on her. Of course, I always have a little bit of mixed feelings about Rachel looking super good, because she already looks younger than me so much. And I already look older than me so much. If people think I'm a cradle robber, probably. But you know what? I'm not a cradle robber. So, too bad for those people who think I am. Rachel's 38 years old, and people are just going to have to deal with that. Yes, it is true. I scored. And I'm not going to be incurring any social consequences from that because she's plenty old enough. How would EHP supervise ISTP? Well, I mean, the relationship is just one where their dominant is your tool, their polar is your dominant. So it's the same way that every other supervisor relationship works. It's like you feel like they're your equal at your nature and that they're the masters of your blind spot. So you feel like powerless against them, kind of. The thing is, it's probably not informative to compare like Jeremy's response to me with how I would deal with INFPs, because knowing about all this shit allows me to respond a little bit differently than naturally occurring people in the wild who don't know anything about cognitive functions. This is maximally so because I'm also highly a mapping type. Not quite as much a mapping type as INFJs, but still heavily a mapping type. I guess it's fair to say that both ENFJs and INFJs are more heavily mapping types than ENTPs or INTPs. But or the most mapping of the ENTPs are the most mappy, or INTPs are kind of equivalent, but ENTPs are the most mappy of the SI types. Well, I mean, yeah, ENTPs are definitely more mappy than INTPs because we have SI4 instead of 3. Ooh, going on, yeah, 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 going on, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in love with her. Anytime at all. Anytime at all. Anytime at all. All you got to do is call and I'll be there. It's kind of cold out here. I'm excited to have the rest of this driveway cleared so that I can, hopefully Rachel and Cameron and I can go to Sweetwater today. That would be great. If we can make it to Sweetwater and do something fun before Cameron leaves town would be great. You know, so far we've done a bunch of being stuck here and dealing with problems and stressing out and stuff like that. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to go inside here and wrap this stream up. We've been going for pushing 3 hours now. I've said all I need to say this morning. For the moment, anyway. So, You, cigarette, go in this bucket. Eric will go back inside as follows. Hi, darling.
Hi, handsome.
How's my precious angel this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm also well. Okay.
Eric, one thing I was telling Rachel that I never did tell you, Chad told me that if you could not get your car up the driveway, he could pull it with whatever machine he had, the excavator or something.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because that driveway and the ice, like, it might be a challenge.
Well, I'll put the chains on and I should be able to get the driveway.
Okay.
All right, thanks all for being here. Love you all. And go watch Tampopo. Tell me what you think.
Eat plenty of Tampopo cheese.
Eat plenty of Tampopo cheese.